Hello everybody, welcome back. This is the 10th episode of the Sporting Fix. If you are with us today, I hope you're having a great day. And before we get started, I'll just mention what we're covering today in today's episode. So we'll go through the Cricket World Cup, we'll go through the AFL trades and potential moves in the not too distant future. So we'll be talking about just those two things today. It's a bit more relaxed, it's a bit more go with the flow sort of an episode today, and I'm just happy to try and get through it with you guys today. Last episode was a little bit longer, so hopefully this is a bit shorter and we can get through everything that needs to be explained. So we'll start off with the World Cup. Australia, before I get into other teams, I have to go straight to Australia and what they've been through. So we'll go to them versus South Africa, and then we'll work all the games that's been played down. So when Australia versus South Africa, they lost by 134 runs. So it was the worst loss in World Cup history. But it doesn't help when Australia have the worst catching efficiency in the World Cup. So they've got a 54% catching efficiency throughout the whole tournament. So they're last in that, and I think India are first with about almost 90% conversion with their catches. And, you know, the old saying, catches win matches, and Australia, they started 2-0 when they versed South Africa and lost. It was not good to see at all. It was really depressing. As soon as Australia lost, I was almost going for the Netherlands because there's no other thing to do really apart from that. They were just not producing quality cricket at all. So we go into that South Africa-Australia match and we got rolled for 177. So we faced 40 overs, pretty much 40.5 overs, so 41 overs, and only scored 177. But if we go to our innings, so we've got Mitch Marsh, who usually is in form, who only scored 7, and the top scorer was Marnus Labuschagne with 46. So we always speak about producing centuries in all the innings, but when you've got a player that can't even, or when you've got a team who not even one player can produce 50 is an issue in itself. And from then on, I was sort of thinking, is this going to change, or is it just going to flow on? Because once you get a loss under your belt, or once you get a couple of losses under your belt, and you are a quality side like Australia, and everyone knows what you can produce, it almost is like a little devil inside your head, or something that just creeps over you and puts more pressure on you for the next game to win. And it just never happened until they versed Sri Lanka, but we'll get to that later. So we stay at the South African match, and we go to the South African innings. They lost 7 wickets. They made 311, which is a quality batting display that they produced. Mitch Starc and Glenn Maxwell were the only two that got multiple wickets. Starc didn't even bowl 10 overs. He bowled 9. He got 2 for 53. His economy rate was under 6, so that's what you sort of want as a bowler. In a team where the opponent is scoring over a run a ball, if you as a bowler can get under 6 and over, it is good. So Starc did that well. Glenn Maxwell, he was unbelievable. He got 2 wickets for 34 and his economy rate was 3.4. But that was the only highlight really in an Australian's perspective when you talk about their bowling production. It was nothing short of just depleted, deplorable. Anything you can say pretty much sums up Australia in a negative way. But on the flip side, you talk about South Africa. So we like to spend a brief time and discussion on both teams. And if you look on the South Africans' point of view, when they batted, Quinton de Kock got 2 centuries in a row. So we got 109 off 106 with a strike rate over 100. And then it was also Aiden Markram who got 56 off 44. So you've got the person that got a century, and you've got another person who backs it up with a half century. So already there, you can almost guarantee you're going to produce a good score, whether people bat well or don't. You know, you've got people that bat around those two players. So you've got Bavuma with only 35, another person with 26. So they're not producing high quality innings, but you've got two people that already have. So no matter what happens around them, you know, or you're pretty confident you're going to score a really defendable total of 311. So that's what happened. In a summary, the player of the match was de Kock, obviously 109. And it was really, really, at that point for Australia, it was very, very concerning. It was a World Cup record defeat, so nothing good to happen there. And then we go to the next match. So it was New Zealand and Bangladesh. Obviously, everyone was expecting New Zealand to win by 8 wickets. New Zealand to win, and they won by 8 wickets. They didn't need to do a lot, to be honest. When you bowl a team out or you keep a team to only 245, your batters have no pressure on them, so they can pretty much do what they want and be confident they will chase the runs down. And New Zealand, they only lost 2 wickets. They got the job done convincingly, as you'd expect. The first ball of the day by Trent Boult was a wicket, so it was a good start, and it just flowed on from there. They just didn't do a lot wrong, to be honest, the bowlers. It was Ferguson 3 wickets, Matt Henry 2, and Trent Boult 2. So they did well with their bowling, and then they backed it up with their batting. Devon Conway 45, Williamson 78. That's the big story. Daryl Mitchell 89. But we go to Williamson, who retired hurt. He is massive. He's 33 years old, but it is a big loss for New Zealand. I don't know if he'll be out or how long he'll be out for, but for him to average 48 in an ODI in his whole career after playing 162 matches is nothing short of extraordinary, and it's a big loss if he doesn't play a match in the future. So they need him. Hopefully they do get him to play. Hopefully he does recover from, I think it was a finger injury at the end of the day. So anyway, New Zealand, they win by 8 wickets. They are undefeated along with India. And then we get to the next match. So after the New Zealand and Bangladesh match, it's then the hosts, India versus Pakistan. And I was pumped for this match. It's not Australia playing, but I was just excited because it was at the biggest stadium in the world, which holds about 130,000 people. So you think of the MCG, and then you think of 30,000 more people there. It's extraordinary. And for two rivals, I guess, titans of the game battling it out in front of 130,000 people, barely a seat was empty. It was a good game. It was a good build-up until Pakistan fell in a heap. So they were 3 for 155, and they were travelling along nicely. They were doing exactly what they needed to do. And then you enter Jasprit Bumrah. You enter all the bowlers. All of them took multiple wickets apart from Shardul Thakur, who only bowled 2 overs. So all the rest scored or picked up multiple wickets. So that's important to build confidence for all of them. But once they lost Babar Azam, it just felt like a domino effect. Another one goes. And then all of a sudden, you're all out for 191 when you were 3 for 155. So it's a big, big collapse, which could have ended if they just continued their very way and did exactly what they were doing. They would have set up a solid score, maybe beyond 300, and it would have been a big game. And then in reply, India, their batters did everything they needed to do. So Rohit Sharma 86 and then 53 not out for Shreyas. So nothing special, I guess, from either teams. It was just a batting collapse and a bowling display that India produced that really knocked the wagon away from Pakistan. So at the end of the day, India win and they remain undefeated with New Zealand, as I said. They're first by net run rate, and they'll be looking to stay that way, especially as it is their World Cup home final or home location in India. We get to this last match, or this second last match, Afghanistan and England. This is the match I've been wanting to speak to and talk about for ages. I forget about Australia beating Sri Lanka. I go straight to this match, Afghanistan and England. Never in a million dreams would I expect Afghanistan to roll England until Sunday. England, they bowl first. They get Afghanistan out for 284. As an England's perspective, it could be better. But you'd expect the deep batting lineup that they have, Bairstow, Milan, Root, Brook, Butler, Livingston, Curran, even Wokes can hold a stick. You'd expect all those players to be able to produce 284 runs. However, it is the best match, the biggest World Cup upset you'll ever see. Afghanistan beating England. I was pleasurizing when I was watching this match. I was in pure elation when I saw England just die and die and die. And for them to just getting worse, like they're in a bad situation, and then for them to get into an even worse situation is just phenomenal to see from an Aussie's point of view. But obviously, you got to mention Majib. You've got to mention Rashid Khan. These two, they play in the BBL for a reason, and they did exactly as anyone would hope that they did as an Afghanistan point of view. So Majib got 3 for 51, and then Rashid Khan 3 for 37. So both of those spinners just ran riot. They ran rampant through the whole Pommy lineup, and it was so good to see. High score was Harry Brooks 66, but it means nothing because England, they lost to Afghanistan, and everyone's over the moon apart from the Pom. So really good to see. It dampens their hopes of making the top four even further. Not that they were going to be in a situation where they will miss out. They still have a very good chance of making the top four, but just that loss where they should have won, it just is very good for everyone to see that doesn't like England. For them to lose by 69 runs, it's a solid chunk. Like, that is a big win for Afghanistan. And as Rashid said, the earthquake that happened in his country, I guess that win sort of lightens the hearts and gives them a smile on their faces through a tough time. So it's good to see Afghanistan win. And now we get to this match. Australia involved versus Sri Lanka. It was a time, there were moments in this game, lots of moments in this game, especially at the start, where I was thinking, Australia, you are hopeless. And that's being nice. So Sri Lanka were none for 125. For a bowling lineup like Australia has, Stark, Hazelwood, Cummins, Zampa, these are all quality players that have played test matches. Glenn Maxwell, they have tricks up their sleeve. They've got plans B, like plan B, plan C. It just doesn't pay off. And for them to concede 125 runs before they pick up the first wicket was unbelievably annoying, because Sri Lanka, they're an interesting side. They're not good enough to beat Australia, and we saw that last night, or on Wednesday, it'll be a couple of nights ago. But it's a time where, during that match, I was thinking, if Australia lose this, the whole country is going to protest throughout the whole country about their team, because you're dating back years ago since Australia finished or had a terrible start like they did then. So there was a lot of pressure riding on that. And then for them to review the first ball of the day, that was not even hitting 3 sets of stumps, that he middled the bat before it even hit his leg. It was a stupid review. And their fielding wasn't on, but they found a way. They found a way. And as an Australian, it's hard to watch. Australia's cricket team are hard to watch because they burn reviews, and at the moment, their fielding is deplorable. It is atrocious. So it's hard to watch. But they got the job done. They fought hard. They did well. And Adam Zampa 4 wickets, Pat Cummins 2 wickets, Mitchell Starc 2 wickets led the way. With the bowling, that is. Now, the way that we've been batting, where we haven't even made 200, I was nervous. I was really nervous. So David Warner and Mitch Marsh, they lose a wicket 1 for 24 in the third over, and you're like, okay, this better not happen again. But Mitch Marsh, 52, he got run out. At least he's found some form. So he's got a 50 up his belt. He's got some runs, and he'll be hoping to continue that run in the future. But Australia, they took their time, as they should have. So Steve Smith got out for a duck, Warner 11, but then Marnus Labuschagne got 40. So at the moment, he's at a consistent pace. He's scoring 40s. He's not going on to score big ones, but he's staying at that 40 mark, which is good enough as a number 4. Josh Inglis, there was talks around him and thoughts around should he be in the team. Well, I think he's answered those questions now. He got 58 off 59, so that's good for him. Glenn Maxwell, strike rate of 147, 31 not out, and Stoinis 20 not out. But because Australia did so well with the ball in the second part of the innings, they took 9 for 52. And because that happened, it was the only way Australia could have a chance at winning the game. So they did that well. Zampa now with back spasms. This could be highly disastrous for Australia if he doesn't get better, because he was the only reason Australia won that game. The way he swung the momentum back into the Aussies' grasp was unbelievable. He took the 4 wickets, economy rate of 5.8, so he was crucial. Really, really crucial. So Australia, they get the win under the belt, and now there's just a relief of pressure. So now the monkey's off the back, they've got the win under their belt, and they've got to continue this run if they have, or they want any chance at making the top 4 and having a chance at holding that cup since 2015. So we've covered the matches that have been played. I just want to preview the matches that Australia are playing. So they've got Pakistan next. Then they've got the Netherlands. This is where Travis Head, if everything goes to plan, he will be back for the Netherlands on the 25th of October. Then we've got New Zealand on the 28th of October, so most likely we probably won't win that match. And then we go down all the way and we verse England. And then we verse Afghanistan. So a couple of matches where you'd expect a few wins. So the Bangladesh match last, and then the Afghanistan match. So there's a few where you'd expect Australia to win. So they are every chance, in my opinion, to make the top 4. They've just got to be absolutely on top of their game. Absolutely on top of their game. If they do so, if they play like they usually play, I wouldn't even say the Sri Lanka game was at their best, because they were far from their best, and I just hope that they find some form in the training sessions that they have and everything leading up to the games in the future. So that's big. That's really big. In the World Cup, all eyes are turned to that tonight and until it ends. So all eyes will be on that. Mine certainly will be, and I'll be trying to analyse the news that comes around with that sport. But now, moving away from cricket and moving to the AFL trades, there's been, as you'd expect, and you hear it all the time, a lot of news throughout the week about players moving and requesting trades and wanting to just switch up their career in whatever way possible. So I'm pretty sure I've got everything that's been happening throughout the week on my list. So Shane McAdam to Adelaide is one of them. And he hasn't really been in the AFL or getting games at Adelaide for quite some time. We knew he can take a big mark. He's got leap. And we also knew he's a druggie until Adelaide fixed him up, and hopefully he's back to his best. But he'll go to Melbourne and he'll hopefully shine. Not a lot to say there. He's off to Melbourne. Done. The big one that's happened just yesterday. Jack Ginnivan requested a trade to Hawthorn. This was a bombshell because he's actually set to play for Collingwood next year. And for him to just request a trade to Hawthorn is a shock. Now, he has the smarts around goals, and his ability to crumb is high, and his pressure acts is dangerous for any opponent. The Hawks, they will be happy if they land him, but I just find it a shock. The Hawks, do they need a forward pocket? They've lost Brockman. Bruce will retire soon. They probably do. They need a small forward. Ginnivan is the man to go to. But if you look at a Collingwood's point of view, everyone at Collingwood glazes. They glaze Jack Ginnivan. As soon as he moves, they'll be trying to kill Jack Ginnivan. It's just weird considering the fact that he's at a club and he'll be all of a sudden the enemy of a club. It's something I can't really get my head around, and I hope whatever happens, it is respectful in whatever way he chooses, whether he goes to Hawthorn. I just hope the Magpie Army respect him in that sense, because, I mean, he was at a club that everyone loved him, and then now if he goes to Hawthorn, everyone will probably hate him. Now, another one, Jack Zeeble as an assistant coach at Richmond. It's interesting because I actually thought he's obviously a one-club player at North Melbourne. I was expecting him to sort of go into the coaching role at North Melbourne. But I guess it's sort of good. Adam Uze wanting a bloke with experience, wanting a bloke with that sort of footy IQ that he's, I guess, produced and possessed throughout his whole career. And Richmond will be happy, I guess, to have him. I don't know how Richmond fans think about it, but I'm sure they'd be happy and willing to have him at the club because he has got a good footy IQ, and I hope he does do something well at Richmond as well. Now, I spoke earlier, Tyler Brockman leaving Hawthorn. Well, that's the Eagles who receive Tyler Brockman, and the Hawks get pick 44 and 63. Now, he's got a bit of Cyril Rioli about him. In my opinion, he's sort of like a Cyril. You know, he's agile as in his small forward is. I mean, he hits the scoreboard. He applies pressure, which is crucial as a forward. You know, forward pressure, they say, is vital, and he does that. So the Eagles, they need whatever they can get, and they've got Tyler Brockman, and that's a good get, in my opinion, because he can link up with Liam Ryan and the forwards within the West Coast Eagles, so Oscar Allen and a couple of others as well. So he'd be good. It's just Hawks, they get pick 44 and 63. So is that a good deal? In my opinion, it is. So you get 2 picks, and yeah, they're not low picks, but you talk about other players that have been high picks. Like Oscar Allen wasn't a high pick. Oh, sorry, he wasn't a low pick, but he was pick. Oh, I don't even know what he was, but he wasn't like a first pick, and he's produced something quality. Nick Larkey wasn't a first pick, but he's produced quality as well. So I feel like if the Hawks can really nail down what they want, they can get what they want through those picks. So I feel like the Hawks are better off than the Eagles in that sense. Now, Liam Henry becomes a Saint. He made a switch from being a forward to a winger last year, and he's averaged 20 disposals. It was a breakout year. He had a couple of games where he's had over 30 disposals. So the Saints and Ross Lyon will be trying to utilise him throughout the year on that wing position, and hopefully he can even boost his game further on in the red, white and black. Lockie Schultz, he's a pie now. This is a big game changer. So Ginnivan out maybe, Lockie Schultz in. So it's a good switch for the Pies. I feel like, you know, he's in his prime. He very often hits the scoreboard, and he's an annoying opponent. So to look at him, to watch him play, it's annoying because he's a yapper. He just yaps and he doesn't shut up, but he hits the scoreboard, and that's what makes it even more annoying. But he's good if he's on your team. So Fremantle people would love him because he's annoying, but he's good for them. And now Collingwood will enjoy him at the club as well, because he's just an annoying little sneaky little thing as well. So, but they'll be happy. He's produced many goals throughout his career, and he'll be looking to do so in the Collingwood club as well. Begoa Newen, he's now a Roo. He comes from Richmond. Richmond get picked 65, North get Begoa Newen. He's very tall. He's about 197 centimetres. It was surprising. He's quite athletic. We haven't seen him a lot recently, in fact, at all, really. He's only played the one game, but he can clunk a mark, and North need defenders. They're clutching at straws to find defenders, and they have one with Begoa Newen as well. Apparently, a lot of people are quite happy with the pick. They think he'll be a prospect for the future, and I certainly hope he is as well. This is another big one as we end. So Taylor Adams to Sydney. The Swans, they are going to have an elite midfield. When you've got Taylor Adams, when you've got Errol Gould, and you think of Chad Warner, and then Grundy, I mean, honestly, can you get a better midfield than that? Taylor Adams, he was critical to the Pies' success. So it is a big loss for Collingwood, but they can adapt without him. They've adapted all year, and this is a small mishap that Collingwood have to overcome. You know what Craig McRae is capable of. You know, Ginnivan's out and he brings Lockie Schultz in. He just finds a way to draw quality players to replace ones that maybe aren't as quality. So he'll be looking, trying to find ways who can replace Taylor Adams. And I think Collingwood, Craig McRae and everyone involved will be able to do so as well. So it's good for Sydney. Not good for Collingwood, but they'll find a way as well. So as we end the AFL trades, as we end the cricket, as we end the episode 10 of the Sporting Fix, I hope you've enjoyed everything that I've covered today. A little bit of a shorter episode, just covered everything that happened throughout the week. I hope you've understood and enjoyed everything that I've discussed today, and I hope you have a good week, and I'll see you next week on Wednesday.